February 9th meeting. Call to order.
Fitzgerald.
Here.
Aaron's. Gogolewski.
Here.
Michelson.
Here.
Miller. Rule. Schuessler.
Here.
Wilson. Wooler.
Here. All right. Approval of January 12th meeting. Everybody's got the minutes from January. Any additions or corrections?
Move to approve them as presented.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Citizen statements that don't pertain to what's on the agenda tonight. I don't think anybody there is. Everybody's for the same, right? All right. Park business tonight, we have one thing, discuss and recommend acceptance of donations for inclusive playground at South Park. Ray?
Thanks, Terry. For the citizens at home, what I'm just going to do is read the memo that I incorporated into the board pack. I think it goes back in the history and gives you some idea how we have gotten to today with some good news that we'll be able to share tonight. We do have the preliminary design for the inclusive playground up on the board, and we'll be able to walk you through a couple of the pieces of that as well. Since 2011, our department has been working with the Oshkosh Inclusive Park Project Committee and the Oshkosh Community Foundation on plans and fundraising for an inclusive playground. This project was initially proposed for Abe Rochland Park. However, due to potential contaminated soil concerns at Abe Rochland, it was determined that South Park was the preferred location for this project. An inclusive playground is included in the existing South Park Master Plan, which was recently adopted both by the Parks Board as well as the Common Council. In November of 2011, the Common Council approved funding $100,000 for this project with the stipulation that the project could not begin until the Oshkosh Inclusive Park Project Committee raised at least $100,000 in matching funds. Since then, the estimated project cost has increased due to equipment and material cost increases, location change, and a slightly expanded project scope, which includes a shade canopy, and there's also some additional concrete work that needs to be completed. The current estimated project cost is approximately $275,000. We're pleased to announce that the Oshkosh Inclusive Park Committee and the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation have secured $140,000 for this project. What city staff is doing is asking the Parks Board tonight as part of this action to recommend to the City Council to match the $140,000 that has been raised. That means that we're requesting an additional $40,000 in city funds come from Parks Department capital projects that have been completed under budget since 2011, anticipating that this project may need additional city support. As these funds from previous years were borrowed from park improvement projects, according to our finance director, best practice would be to utilize these funds for capital projects in the parks. The Advisory Park Board is discussing it at the meeting this evening, and with a recommendation going to the council anticipated for February 24th. As part of the project, what we've been doing is working with our city attorney as well as the Community Foundation to establish a fund and a three-party agreement between the city, the foundation, and Gerber Leisure Products. Essentially what that helps us do, it helps the foundation and the Inclusive Park Committee to select a builder and a vendor to work with that fit their needs, and the city funding will go towards a major percentage of the material cost for the project. It's similar to what we did with the River Otter exhibit as well as the pool when the fundraising took place. It gives the foundation and the community group a little more flexibility in who they're working with on the project. So according to the City of Oshkosh gifts and donations policy, the board is being asked to review and make a recommendation to the Common Council regarding this proposed donation. Staff is recommending that the board recommend acceptance of the donation to the Common Council. So again, what we would do is work on a three-party agreement that would be going to the council on the 24th. Included in that three-party agreement is the city funding. What we are asking for is a total of $140,000, and the council will need to approve that as part of that three-way agreement. Just to give you an idea on some of the projects that I have met with our city manager and our finance director on, projects in the past that have come in under budget that we do have funding available. Just to name a few, when we Did the Menominee Park Lakefly restroom renovation. We had funds remaining that were under budget. Abe Rochland, and I think the reason why we had funds from both of those is we bid them out at the same time. We had the same contractor coming in working on both projects, so I think that was helpful for us. And then the South Park Master Plan, there's some funding available, as well as dating back to 2011, a couple of projects that came in under budget. So that gives you an idea on some of the projects that have come in under budget since 2011. And the finance director and the city manager do agree and support this recommendation going to the Common Council.
Hey, where's the extra $5,000 going? Because you said it was $275.
Yep.
But wouldn't we get $135 from the city?
What we're doing is we're planning for at least a $5,000 contingency. We do have there's a drain tile that needs to go into the site at South Park because it's a low sitting area. So part of that may go towards extending a drain tile outside of the project area to connect to a storm sewer. So just regular construction projects, we're asking for at least a $5,000 contingency, which is pretty low. The community or the committee is still out raising funds for some of the project as well. So we're anticipating that may continue to build as well. So we're hoping that as much of the project will be covered by the $275,000.
Before we get into this too far, are there any citizen statements? Anybody want to speak on it? Judy? Anybody? You go up, yeah. Give your name, address.
Okay. My name is Pam DeLapp. I live at 685 Clairville Road in town of Nakaimai. I am here representing the entire committee for the Oshkosh Inclusive Park. And we just want to say thank you since we saw you in 2011, we've had some really great support from Ray in our fundraising efforts, working with Community Foundation, local businesses, area residents. We've done a lot of community outreach. After we met with you, we went into the community through the farmers market, the gallery walks, because we really wanted to get an idea of, is this something that the community really wanted? And we just had an outpouring of community support. We participated in the city parades, and one of our parades that we did last St. Patty's Day, as a matter of fact, somebody pulled me out of the parade, took a picture, and then sent us a $10,000 check the following Monday. So it's a facility that is needed in Oshkosh, but the outcomes of what has taken place around this conversation is far greater than we ever expected to have happen, because it's opened up a conversation about inclusion and what does that mean. And other local businesses have contacted us to say, how do I make my business more inclusive? And for us, that's just a huge outcome that we didn't really anticipate. You know, we wanted to educate about inclusion in the venues that we have in Oshkosh, but never anticipated this great of a response. So we're really excited about the fact that we got a great gift from the Community Foundation that's really put us at a place where we can start to build if this recommendation goes through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diane Abraham, with the president and CEO of the Community Foundation. I live on Wildwood Drive in Oshkosh, and I want to tell you that the foundation is very proud to be another partner with the city and great donors and a great committee to bring this inclusive park playground at the park to come to pass. I know that when I arrived here a couple of years ago, I heard how important it was, and I wanted to let you know that we are very excited at the foundation that we are able to make a gift and again work with you on making this community even better.
Thank you. Anyone else? Open it up to the committee. Any questions, comments?
If this goes to the council and you approve it, Sean, when do you think the start date and end date would this happen?
We've had some conversations with Gerber Leisure Products already, and weather dependent, they would hopefully get in here by mid-April. and have excavation taking place. It's all weather dependent. They figured about 3 weeks for construction. Because this is going to be a poured in place rubber surfacing, the weather conditions need to be, I think that needs to be 45 degrees or warmer for at least 3 days and nights, obviously. So it's all weather dependent. But our hope is that by mid to late May, this project would be completed. Our department would be doing the restoration around the site. So easily by the time school is out, we'd like to have this project up and completed.
Yes.
What kind of input did we get on what play equipment is going to be in the playground?
I don't know if Jesse or Pam want to talk, or I can kick it off, but this is really, it's been a project that the committee has taken out to special needs groups throughout the community. Actually, I believe some of the school district has contacted a number of the committee members to talk about the playground equipment that was going in here when the Oak Lawn project was being looked at to get some ideas. Pam has a child, I hope you don't mind, with autism, I believe. And Jesse, one of the other leaders of the project that came in 2011, works with children with special needs. I have a daughter with special needs. So we did take it out in the community. I know being at the farmer's market and with Pam's connections to the special needs community has received a lot of input. But we have also worked closely with Gerber Leisure Products on some of the pieces of equipment that are in here, that are included. I'm going to go up there and just explain a couple of the items, just to give you an idea. The biggest thing, it's hard to see on the drawing, but the rampways going up are actually double wide. So you'll be able to get children in wheelchairs, at least 2 wheelchairs will be able to pass on the playground equipment at one time. So the ramp system is double wide. Anybody in a walker, stroller, or wheelchair is able to get from the lowest point of the structure up to the highest point. There's no steps or transition points, so it's all continuous ramping. This piece of equipment is I think it's called a sway fun. So actually children that are in wheelchairs or strollers and walkers can actually bring their piece of apparatus or their wheelchair right onto this piece, and it gives the motion of a teeter-totter type piece of equipment. This piece is similar to the old merry-go-rounds, and again, it's built low enough where children can transition into it. There were a couple of pieces on here. Did we take the roller off, that roller slide? I think we might be on a different view. Well, I'm not seeing it, but this is another view. This one shows the ramps a little bit better so that you can see the width of the ramps. A lot of sensory pieces and ground level pieces where the children can wheel up to it. Same thing when you're onto the system, onto the ramps, children in wheelchairs and walkers and strollers. And I keep saying children in walkers and strollers, but as Pam said, this is really inclusive for grandpas, grandmas, mothers, fathers that might be confined to a wheelchair or a stroller or a walker. That's what we're really trying to look at with this project. So although it's, we obviously looked at children with special needs and trying to make those accommodations, we wanted to really have children that don't have any special needs to be able to come in and play alongside of everybody, as well as the grandparents and the family members. The swings are obviously, they're going to be lower so that they can transition onto those as well. One of the bigger additions is the shade canopies, because a number of children with special needs have sensitivity to sunlight and being in the sun, so we really felt that adding some shade here was a big importance. And then I talked about the poured-in-place rubber surfacing. That is a large cost for this project, but it is the most accessible surfacing that is out there. On the concrete border, there's a 5-foot concrete sidewalk around the edge, and I don't know which orientation, but the playground will go south of the basketball court at South Park, so it's between the basketball court and the parking structure, or the parking lot. And from the parking lot to the structure, there'll be a walkway going in, and then we're going to have it connect to the existing walkway that goes to the spray ground and the existing playground as well. So somebody can get from the parking lot to this structure to all the other sites and other pieces of equipment in the playground. A little side note that the citizens might want to know is the council and this board have approved a new restroom facility also at South Park, which we're planning to begin construction in the fall after the busy season, but we'll be making that facility will be ADA compliant and accessible as well. So I think it's going to be a great addition for the South Park. Anybody want to add anything that, as far as equipment or design? If you want to just step up to the mic again, Pam, that's good.
I think you touched on it a little bit, but the poured surface was probably one of the biggest things that the community members talked to us about, because our parks have sand, they have wood chips, and some of them have grass underneath the structures. So just when we think about the members in our community, the grandmas and grandpas, the moms that have multiple children and one in a stroller, those wood chips and those sand really create a barrier for them to even get to the structure. So that was probably the biggest thing that the community members said, is how great this is, because we're removing those barriers and really making everybody feel welcome to use the structure. So it is a big cost, but it's probably what really makes this project special.
For the use of this, is basically going to be a lot of children with wheelchairs or with strollers? What do you see happening here?
Well, because of our demographics and the fact that our senior population, we have a lot of young seniors, myself included, that have grandchildren. And when those senior citizens start to have mobility issues, again, we're seeing those grandmas and grandpas being able to use this particular park to be able to bring grandkids. So it's not just about wheelchairs. It's about mobility issues. As far as we have, matter of fact, I have a neighbor at my office who is a wounded vet. He served 2 terms in Iraq and was blown up in one of the vehicles, and his back is put together by pins. He has 2 children, one infant son and another toddler. When they go to the park, at this point, and they live 2 blocks from here, when they go to the park, he sits in the car because he can't navigate at this point over the wood chips. So again, when we talk about the users of the park, we're not just talking about kids in wheelchairs.
What my thought was, that playground is going to be close to the splash pad, right? I'm sure there is, wheelchairs that could be,
Absolutely.
they could take it right over to the splash pad for the kids. Has anybody thought about that?
We've had discussion. I'm not sure what the plans are as far as updating that splash pad, but right now I can tell you currently the support group that I belong to here in town, we come to South Park because of the accessibility of that splash pad. And I know that we now have a water park that has that same accessibility, but I think that splash pad tied into this piece is going to be another big attraction.
Are we planning on making a path to the splash pad?
There's an existing path that this does connect to. So it'll connect there.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, Will. First off, thank you to the committee for your work over the last couple of years. I've been hearing about this with a lot of enthusiasm and excitement, and glad to hear that you finally reached your goal. It's a great addition to the community, so thank you very much, and thank you to the Community Foundation for your contribution to this project and for helping out along the way and giving them the encouragement they needed to get there. Just a quick question for you, Mr. Maurer, and it's people always want to know what the life expectancy is on these pieces of equipment, in particular if it's coming out of a capital equipment fund. Nowadays with the materials that these are being made out of, what approximately is a minimum lifespan on these?
You talking the equipment or the surfacing, or both?
Well, both.
Both. The equipment typically in in the parks, when it starts to reach that 15 to 20 age, a lot of the consumer product safety guidelines have changed. A lot of the ADA compliance has changed. So we typically are looking at that 15 to 20 year age. Something like this it's going to depend on how heavily used it is, but I would see this lasting as long as some of our existing playgrounds out in the inventory that we have. As far as the playground surfacing itself, it's going to save us a lot on annual maintenance for one, and not having to haul in the mulch. But a lot of the playground, the surfacing now itself is easily going to make probably 20 to 25 years. And when it does start wearing out, it wears out in certain areas, like underneath the swings or certain heavy use areas. And what this allows us to do is to come in, and you can actually just cut sections of it out. And because it's a liquefied rubber basically that you pour back in, so you can easily just replace certain sections under the heavy use. Underneath the structure and areas that it's not heavily used, I would say that it's going to last 25 to 30 years, and there's products out there that have easily lasted that long.
Thank you.
Anything else? I'd entertain a motion to
Make a motion to
accept the contributions.
Second.
Donation. Roll call?
Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Gogaleski.
Aye.
Michelson.
Aye.
Schuessler.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Wooler.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you very
good
much.
for that. Next is, thank you. Director's report.
I'll be brief. As you can see, I'm all alone tonight because we had a pretty brief agenda. The rest of the staff took the night off. I did want to let you know that the Stevens Park restroom facility that was voted on by this board last month did go to the Plan Commission, was unanimously approved on the design. So we are working on the bid documents for that. I think we're looking at getting that out to bid in the early part of March. With anticipation of starting that as soon as the weather turns for us as well. So we'll be working on that project. I think we have a deadline of, I want to say early to mid-July to have the construction done, so you'll see progress working out on that. Have had a couple of phone calls and some comments from citizens after they had heard about the project, wondering again about rentals of the facility. There are some neighbors that would like us to consider not renting it out, similar to other shelters, but maybe just a drop-in type by the neighbors, or if anybody from the community wants to use it. So I think that might come back to the board for some discussion. And I can see both sides of the issue. I think parking out there becomes an issue, so if we start renting it even for a small rental group of 25 people, there's really not a lot of parking. So I think we need to take a look at this one a little bit differently than some of our other rentable shelters that we have out in the park system. Otherwise, it's just a lot of the special events going on throughout the parks. This past weekend was the Otter Street Fishing Club fishing tournament, and the Polar Plunge is coming up, I believe, the 21st. And then Battle on Bago is the 27th and 28th. So if you're around Menominee Park, obviously it's a busy month to be down there. And I think this weekend they had a good turnout for the Otter Street, and hopefully the weather's good for all the other events coming up. So that's all I have right now.
If there's anything
Yep.
missing.
Yeah, right now we have the next meeting is on March 9th. Right now we don't have anything real pressing, but if something comes up, we'll definitely schedule a meeting. But again, this was one item that we wanted to get taken care of so we can keep it moving through the council and get it processed through the system. But I may be out for a little time, having some medical issues pertain to, so that might help me out for the March schedule as well. But if I'm not here and items come up, I'll be working through Trish and Chad and Bill and the rest of the staff to get it taken care of. So
Let everybody know far enough ahead if we got something really pressing, but besides it, Ray going bionic, all new parts.
Finally gonna get that.
I have to.
I saw that gimp up there.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for showing up. We'll entertain a motion for
You've got one.
second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thanks.